Okay, I just bought the Nikon 28 to 75 2.8 for the Z mount, and I really wanted to know how much I was losing on the wide end and how much I was gaining on the long end. So this room, corner to corner, is 16 feet. The camera sensor is 10 feet from this wall. This is 2 feet closer, so 8 feet away from the camera. This is, I think, 9 feet. Oh no, this way it is 7.5 feet. So 8 feet away, 16 foot wide corner to corner, 10 feet away, and you're at chest level on me. But right now you are looking through an old Nikon 20mm 2.8, which is manual focus on this camera because it doesn't have the screw drive like my D800. And this is what we're going to do. So at 2.8, I am at 1000 ISO and 60 frames a second, shooting 30 frames a second on the camera, or my shutter speed 60. Now we're going to switch to the Sigma Art 24. I've been primarily a prime shooter, so I have a 24 and a 50 in the Art series, which we won't have to look through the 50 because the new lens covers that range. But we're going to switch to this and see how much you lose from 16 feet. I'll measure, get an idea, from 10 feet away from the wall. Okay, from the 20 to the 24 Art, I was able to go down to 1.4 from a 2.8, which gives me an ISO of 250 for about the same exposure, still at shutter speed 60, shooting 30 frames a second. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the new 28 to 75 2.8, so my ISO will have to go back up to 1000 and we'll be at 2.8 instead of 1.4. So we're going from ISO 250 and 1.4 to 2.8 and 1000, and we're losing 4 more millimeters, and we'll see what that equates to at 10 feet away. Okay, from 24, which from this corner when I measured earlier was 14 inches. Actually, because I was on 20mm to start, from 20 to 24, you lost 20 inches plus. Best I can tell. My wall was not large enough for a flat guesstimate at this distance away. So from 24 to 28, you're going from 14 inches on this side to 21 inches. So 7 inches. And let's see if this is the same. And it is. So from a 24, which is to the left here on both sides, 7 inches you're losing at 10 feet. So at 10 feet, that's not a lot of loss. And most of the time, if you're shooting 24, in my situation, I am 10 feet or less because I'm shooting sports. So 7 inches isn't going to make a big deal for me. So that works out great. So 10 feet away, 24 to 28, you're losing 7 inches. Now I realize that there's, they give you the angle of the view for these millimeters, but I just wanted to see it myself and get a better idea. And we're going to move on up to 35 and 50, and then 75, then I'll go from 70 to 200. And this should be 35 according to the lens markings. Now we'll go from 35 to 50. down to 75. Just to focus. Wrong way. Close enough. So let's zoom out. Okay, I'll flash back to 20. Now 24. Now 28. Now 35. 50. 75. Now I'm going to put the 70 to 200 on and we'll even see how far that goes. Tamron G2 7200 at 2.8 ISO 800, and we are at 70. So at 70 we are very similar position on the dots over here, and from 70 to 200, just to give you an idea, that does need to be focused. I think I will go up to 1,000. Back out to 70. And to 200 again. Back out to 70. So, I realize you lose some height-wise, but for me, usually the height is not a problem. You know, you're shooting people. I was more worried about losing 4 millimeters from 24 to 28 in the studio here, and that was no issue at all. Width-wise, still no issue. We'll jump back and look at the 28 millimeter again, and you can see 8 feet away you've still got what I say it was 14 feet wide at least of view, so that's very, very good. Okay, I wanted to do a comparison because I used this 20 millimeter that I showed you earlier. Whoops, I hit the C-stand. For video work with the Z6 II. I have to use the FTZ mount. So okay, we're zeroed out. 20 millimeter by itself weighs 294 grams, or 10 3/8 ounces. Now I have my zoom ring on there too. With the FTZ mount, went up 15 to 15 1/8 ounce, and to 430 grams. So 294 to 430 grams. The FTZ by itself is 136 grams, or 4 3/4 ounces. Now, so this setup that I use with my Ronin S, it's small, I wanted the light setup, is 428 grams. Now if I use it with the Sigma Art, which is a heavy lens, I'll do that and set it on top. It's 840 grams. Yep, 840 grams, or 1 pound, 13 5/8 ounces. Now, so we are at 838 versus 428. $430. Okay, 430 to 828. Now I'm going to switch, take this lens off, the Z28 to 75, and see how much it weighs. Okay, let's zero it out again. Get the camera to stop shaking. Okay, we're zeroed, and here is the Z mount lens, and it is 588. So I'm got a zoom range which you can't use after you bounce the gimbal. I have a lighter setup than the 24. I don't have the width that I do with my light setup with the 20mm, but it's a lot lighter. I should be able to use it on the gimbal just fine, and also have the zoom range, so that's a plus.